Your best developers are actually your potential biggest security risk. Not because they're malicious, but because they're fast. Every time they paste code into a generative AI tool, they are potentially leaking your IP to a public model. And the scary part, your current data loss prevention solution is completely blind to it. Hi, my name is Cole Padula, and I'm from Cyberhaven. We track data lineage for global enterprises, and this invisible leak is the single most common gap we see. It isn't malice, it looks like productivity, but right now, your security stack is choosing to stay blind to it. This blindness happens because your controls were built for a different era. They were designed to stop malicious exfiltration, not efficient workflows. The primary vector for data loss today isn't theft, it is speed. Your teams are under immense pressure to ship faster, and this pressure creates shadow AI. When corporate tools are too slow, employees drift toward personal accounts. They open up ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini because it can write SQL queries in seconds. But here's the scary part. When your team pastes work into these tools, they aren't just getting an answer, they're handing over the keys to your intellectual property. That data is being absorbed and reused in ways that you can't track. This is where traditional DLP fails silently. Legacy tools track files, documents labeled confidential, but generative AI interactions aren't file transfers. When an employee highlights a strategic roadmap and pastes it into ChatGPT, the file never leaves their machine. Only the text does. Since this text lacks standard PII markers, your DLP ignores it. This exposes the browser blind spot. Most security tools treat the browser as a black box. Your firewall sees an encrypted connection to OpenAI.com, but cannot see inside the text box. It captures a domain, but misses the context. You might have a policy that says no internal data in public AI, but without technical enforcement, that policy is just a suggestion. Once data enters a generative AI tool, it will mutate. It changes shape so it no longer looks like sensitive data to your scanners. This laundering succeeds because data isn't static anymore. In the old world, a confidential document was a rigid container. But in the era of large language models, data becomes fluid. Picture your finance director. She highlights a paragraph from a confidential Q3 projection and pastes them into a generative AI solution of her choice. Summarize this for investors, she prompts. But this is where tools fail silently. The tool rewrites it. Revenue figures might be rounded. Acquisition targets become strategic growth. The machine is effectively laundering the data structure while keeping the sensitive information intact. It strips away the headers and formatting your DLP relies on. Your DLP scans for keywords like Project Alpha, but because the AI has mutated the text, the keyword searches find no matches. The file hash is irrelevant because the data is no longer in a file. Once you start following the data further, the finance director takes that AI-generated summary, which is now clean, and pastes it into a Google Doc, and then emails the board. The data has now moved from a secure PDF to the clipboard, to an external AI engine, back to the clipboard, into a cloud document, and out via email. If you only monitor the final email, you miss the critical exposure point. The email looks sanitized, your DLP scans it, sees no confidential watermarks, and allows it to pass. You are seeing the final step of the journey, but the breach actually happened 3 steps prior when the content was processed by an external AI engine. Traditional security relies on file attributes like metadata, headers, and classification tags. These are digital envelopes that tell your system a file is sensitive. But copy-paste separates the message from the envelope. When that text hits the clipboard, it becomes raw, unstructured data. It has no history, no tags, and no protection. Your DLP is still guarding the empty envelope on the hard drive while the actual data travels naked across the web. To secure this, you must stop tracking the container and start tracking the payload. This is the wall every legacy tool hits. To get past it, you have to stop looking at what the data is and start looking at where it started. If you want to hear more information like this, click on the next video to find out more.